Gary Ashton next, another great friend of mine. Will turn on his. Can you do me a favor, guys? Turn on his camera. Thank you. There it is. There's Gary. Look at that. Setting the mood with the purple background. Gary, you didn't plan this at all, buddy. You did. I love this.
Yeah.
Gary Ashton, for those people that don't know who you are, I get it wrong every time. You're not the number one team in the world, or are you? What the hell is it? Tell me. I want to get it right.
So yeah, so I'd like to be the number one team in the world, but the number one Remax team in the world.
Got it. All right. Do you have to roll the R like that too?
Say that again?
Do you have to roll the R like that too? Remax.
Well, so I'll tell you why this all started, because I'm from England. And so when I say world, I say world. But when Americans say world, they say world. But I can't do an American accent. So me trying to, I was like, number one in the world. And then it just became a thing because I can't speak with an American accent. So anyway, and then it sounds like it should have some reverb, some gravitas behind it. So it's number one in the world. The world.
I like it. Well, you could just find Gary on Google. Just Google Gary. Gary, thanks for being
just Google
part
Gary
of this.
Ashton.
Thanks for being part of a brilliant tribe and helping us all grow. Let's talk about one specific thing when it comes down to your team. You've got a massive, productive, successful team that you've been running for a while now. And now you recently started going further or deeper into vendor relationships. And I want to touch on that for a good portion of this because it's a big opportunity for a lot of people listening in. Why have you done that recently? What does that look like?
Well, I don't think it's anything new. I think that everybody that's involved in real estate, maybe even as a single person or a small team, a big team or a mega team, you've all developed relationships over the course of your business. And so when you work with clients, I think the ones that we've focused on primarily in the past is relationships with the traditional ones like mortgage, title, insurance, home warranties. And the one that I don't know why I forgot this for a long time was movers, making sure that you have a relationship with the movers. So it's a cliche, but what you're trying to do is offer your client the best possible experience by aligning yourself with the best possible vendors, highest standards. People are going to react and see the value. So everybody's done that. I think everybody does that. And then when you talk to the client, because you've been part of the community for a long time, you just by default, the plumbers and the best HVAC guy, the best place to get. This is all the resources that make real estate agents valuable.
That's true. Here's something I learned from you though. With that specifically, even though we know this as agents, teams, brokerages, we forget to put it all in one place. We forget to advertise it. We forget to connect the pieces, the homeowner with the vendors, and you've simplified it so that we can remember more. Tell me about that simplification, because this is important to everyone listening in.
Well, for me, I think the simplification was we've been putting all the vendors together in one spot. So this is the evolution of how this came apart. So we would have with a team of 150, 160, 180. As we keep growing, we keep bringing in more agents that have their own little resources, and they get to know, hey, I just met this guy. He's an amazing handyman. Okay, well, let's bring him in to our preferred list of vendors now that it's an approved vendor. So essentially, we had a big old spreadsheet, and then we would make sure that somebody was either just a recommendation, or they were approved, or they've done a good job. And just like anything else, if they don't do a good job, if you get 2 or 3 times where people complaining about the same thing, well, then you're out.
Yep.
And so for us, it was just over a period of time making sure that we were. It's that cliche because you want to refer out somebody that's going to be a good reflection of you.
Mm-hmm.
So we built up this network, and like I said, everybody has this. I think they're just not really thinking it through, and so we had it all in one spot. And so from there, came up with the idea of doing some co-marketing with those vendors because now we're using a product called homeowner.ai, which for us is a place where we can create a portal that the homeowner can go visit. So for us, we white labeled it as My Home's Intel. But
You're
if you
on
go
My
to,
Home Intel. Let
yeah.
me take a look at that. This
So
one's the
the reason, because that makes no sense to you in California, right? But if you're in, hopefully, if you're in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, our slogan that we use on the TV and radio, sports marketing, is like, don't sell without the intel. So that's trying to brand ourselves to the word intel. So this isn't directly associated with me, but there's a subliminal association. So My Home's Intel. So it ties into what we're doing. So we're providing this service for our clients and giving them access to all the preferred vendors that we work with. Yeah. So you got access to your, I mean, the one thing that once somebody's bought their home, everybody's interested in knowing how much their home has appreciated or what it's worth over the next 2, 3, 4. I mean, people move every 5, 10 years now. I think it's getting longer and longer. So there's that appreciation, hopefully. And I think we all know that there may be times where there's a little dips, but it's like the stock market. It essentially keeps on growing. So that's something you don't want to look at every day. But I don't know if you keep going back and on information about all the best things to do to maintain the value of your house, because there's maintenance that you have to do. You have to clean your gutters. You have to make sure the dryer vent in the washing machine area, that's all clean. All these little things that are part of the life, because you don't want to have a house fire. And so anyway, so for us, the idea is that when you're working with a client, you spend all that money to generate that lead, which then becomes an opportunity, which then becomes a client, hopefully. So at that point, you want to make sure they have the best possible experience so that they start to see you as the real estate expert. That's how these are all the traditional things. Like that's how you benefit from getting referrals and repeat business. Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of agents talk about it, but you went out and did it. I think that's the difference, right? Where a lot of people
that's what I'm leading up to. Yeah. So the next thing that is to really, and I think this becomes more important now, even more so when as a buyer agent or a listing agent, you're trying to demonstrate how you add value to the actual client. So when you're actually meeting somebody, now differentiating yourself because what you're promoting is the value that you're going to add to your client when you actually go and help them show homes, write contract, write offers. So you're pushing that knowledge, that real estate knowledge. So, but to differentiate yourself, you're also going to be able to show the value that you have when you're buying a home or after you've bought the home, because now you're giving them access to your kind of like your inner circle of, so you become then a preferred client, like a VIP client. So it's essentially like you become part of the country club, and once to get into that country club, you're a client. So now you've got access to all of our vendors that are preferred, that we've used, that are established, that are well rated. So here's my analogy. I think maybe gets people to understand it. That if you and I were about to go for dinner, and we're going to go to the same restaurant, and we look at, there's a 45-minute wait. So you go there first and you waiting in line. Yes, sir, there'll be 45 minutes. Okay, I'll hang out. Give me the little buzzer thing. So you're just hanging out, waiting to come in, and then up, I stroll up. I go straight to the front, and then the owner of the restaurant goes, "Mr. Ashton, come on in, come on. I got the table for you." At this point, you're going, "What the? How did he get into the front when I booked online? There's no tables available. I'm 45 minutes wait now." The difference is I know the owner of the restaurant, so he's given me preferential. I'm essentially his VIP client, as it were. So if you put the analogy to the HVAC or the plumber or the electrician, when I call up because I'm part of the My Homes Intel, our clients are recognized by our home services vendors, and then they know, well, this is an Ashton team client. I need to make sure he gets put to the top. So going back to the restaurant analogy, that doesn't mean, when I get in before you 45 minutes, I'm straight, I'm sitting down, you're still out there waiting in line. But when they bring me the menu, I'm not getting a special menu. My menu still says steak $45. Your menu, when you get it, says steak 40. I mean, we have the same menu. The only thing that's really different is I get preferential treatment and preferential scheduling. This is kind of scheduling or scheduling. How do you guys say it? I always forget.
We'll go with schedule.
I get put to the top of the list.
Listen, it sounds like it comes down to the experience, and it's all about how you're making people feel. And you're creating this amazing environment around a list that we all have.
And that's what adds the value, because when you can explain to somebody, yeah, you might get a little discount because you're part of our network too, but in today's world, how important is it to get things done like that? And if you want to be able to leverage, it's kind of like saying, well, I know Gary Ashton, therefore I should get to the top. What you're doing is, well, I know the owner of the HVAC company by association with Gary, because now I'm in this VIP client network, and now I'm going to get preferential treatment. So when it gets to, like, I was in Austin yesterday, it was 100 degrees. They're having a little bit of a mini heat wave there. So, when everybody's getting hot and all of a sudden the HVAC is overworking, that's when they break down. So everybody wants HVAC service the same day, but now it's become valuable. I don't care about the discount. I just want to get it done because I'm living in here and it's 110 degrees inside the house. I've got to get it to cool down. So having that preferential treatment, preferential servicing, scheduling, that adds so much value. And then once your vendors and the home services, they actually start to see the value of this. So that's where the whole co-marketing thing comes in. You actually start working and you're attracting vendors who actually want to work with you, because really the agent is the gatekeeper here for all these peripheral services. And like I said, we all know mortgage, title, insurance, moving, home warranties. But when you establish that relationship with your client, I'll give you an analogy. This is how I like it. Like if you were moving to Nashville, Tristan, and I'm showing you homes for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, we develop a good relationship. We're like buddies. I get to know you. Whenever we close on the house, we're going to be like, yeah, we're going to come over. Can't wait for the housewarming. We're going to come over. We're going to meet the missus. We're going to become good friends. Oh, we're going to go to the hockey games. Well, we're planning this future because we become genuinely friends. So you close on the house, everything's great. A week later, you have a plumbing issue. Now, I've been telling you about My Homes Intel. I've been telling you about the resources. You're a VIP member, but because we have such a good relationship, you're probably just going to call me and I'm going to go, oh, yes, let me connect you with Airstream Plumbing. Let me get and I call up Airstream. Hey, this is Tristan, one of my VIP clients. Can we make sure it? Okay, good. As time goes on, I start to fade a little bit into the distance because now I've got Michelle over here as my newest client, and then I got Steve, and then we're still good friends, but how do we retain that connection with it? And this is one thing that agents say, oh yeah, we're always going to stay in touch. And then what do? You send them a Christmas card. Obviously, some people are really good at making sure they get little gifts here and there. So Lolo, amazing. But what I wanted to do was utilize this service to replicate the pop buys, basically, because after 6 months or a year, when you have that problem with your plumbing, because we're having these little nudges and keep referring you back to My Homes Intel, which is the home portal, as it were, it's the hub, and it's unique to you as the homeowner. It has the way you register is by your address, so you can't have 5 people living at the same address. It's just your address.
That's
and
cool.
You get to realize by coming back, and you're coming back to see how much the value of my home is. You know that your important documents are there about from closing the house, about the warranties. It's just this little hub where you keep going back. And that's when you have that plumbing issue and you go, I'm going to go to My Homes Intel, go to my hub, and I'm going to go to the home services because Gary kept mentioning My Homes Intel, My Homes Intel. We have a drip campaign, which is all about the stuff that we do with Grant Wise. This is really, what's that called? It's just a newsletter where you segment your audience. So we're making sure that people are getting interesting information about the local community, blah, 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 blah. But part of that is almost like it's a banner ad to remind them My Homes Intel. So this is subliminal stuff going on. And then you've got emails coming in. It's time to change the filters. It's time to do this maintenance on your home, which again keeps them coming back to My Homes Intel, which builds up that, just becomes a second nature. Oh, I need somebody to do, maybe going to remaster our bedroom, the owner's suite. I want to do a new shower. I want to block out, I want to block a wall. There's ways to go in there to utilize it. And again, you've got to explain this to somebody, but once they start to see the value of the service, that helps keep you in front of them. So that helps with the retention. It helps with the fact that you're continually offering value to that client.
Well, that's part of
top of mind. So
that's why I thought this was genius when you told it to me. I think it was late last year when you told me you were working on this. I thought it was brilliant. I'm like, dude, we all have this list, but we don't use it like you're telling me. Trisha, we'll get to your question. I bet you everyone has that one. But first, I want to talk about our conversation before, Gary. You said the same thing you said earlier. You're like, people are living in their homes now longer, right? The average is 10 years. And now, right? And when I looked in Los Angeles, it's 18 years, dude. 18. That's
anything
crazy.
To do with 1%?
It's definitely nobody can afford to leave. It's like they're even more expensive here. So now when you were explaining this to me, I thought, man, this really gets to the homeowner where they're at. It meets them where they're at because the main problems in owning a home are MRI, right? Maintenance, repair, and improvements. And you're there for every single one of those things because you purposefully put us there. That's why I thought it was brilliant. Here's the question that everyone has, though. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, so if you're living in the area and then you're moving within the area, you're probably going to have your own. Maybe you have somebody that you've used for a few years, but our home services are kind of elevated because they come approved from us. So it's giving you the opportunity to essentially have access to our Angie's list. So you may have your own little list, but after a while, if you want that preferential VIP treatment, because in essence, you're just one person reaching out to the vendor that maybe you've used every 3 years or 5 years. Well, the vendors that we're doing, we're actually becoming a big source of business for them. So
Yeah.
it's incumbent upon them to make sure that my clients get treated well, because there's a two-way relationship here. We're sending them business, so we need to make sure they need to make sure that our clients are happy, because that's a reflection on us. And then if we get the feedback that um, I wasn't treated very well, that they all the things that can go wrong. There's always two sides to every story, but if you keep hearing the same story, then you realize, well, this, something's changed here, and then you pull them out. So that's
Very
the
true.
ultimate sanction.
All right. Question from Trisha and from a few other people here. Great question, Trisha.
Okay.
Is there a buy-in from the vendors? How does that work? How do you approach them?
So the approach to the vendors. So
Yeah.
the benefit for me is that, and I think this is what you'll find with most people, that you've been doing this for a long time. So we've had an approved roofer, an approved flooring, an approved HVAC. So you've built that over time, but I was always of the opinion, I don't want to really monetize this per se. I want to be able to offer such a good service, because that's where the retention comes in, and that's where the value comes in. So the buy-in for me is to make sure that you're actually finding home services that want business. And if you can give them proof of concept, because now they're starting to get some clients from you, there's a point where they go, this is great. Because really, you got to remember that they're just like any other business. They're advertising, they're trying to generate people, they're trying to, how do they get to meet new clients, and that's what those welcome, I don't know if they still do them, when you get something in the mail, welcome to the neighborhood, and it's just
Yeah, we
junk
still get
mail
those.
kind of. What they want to do is get directly to our clients, because we're providing a warm introduction, and it's credible, because if they're approved by us, then that means that the client doesn't have to go through that whole process of vetoing, because they're
We
relying
vetted
on us to, yes, essentially, yeah. So to get the buy-in, I've never had any problems. Like the newest one that we just brought on into the process was because I moved into a new house, and I saw somebody that was advertising for doing window tinting for the home, not for your car. And I knew that the new house, the bedroom at the back, is going to get sun on it all day long. So
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that we could put some tint on there, because I know they say it reduces the UV and it reduces the heat by, I don't know, something like 30 or
So you
40%.
use
So
them, and now they're part of the vendor list.
yes,
I
yes.
like
So
that.
that's
So
so in my mind, I'm always trying to think on,
that reminds me
what do
of
you need?
something, because hold on, let me see if I can pop it up here for everyone. This is,
Mhm.
you just reminded me of something, and I think I'm going to give credit to you, because I don't know when the hell I came up with this. Okay. But Gary, I think it's one of our conversations. So we've got this. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Here, let me share this. It is, where is it? Assess.
But why are you doing
Here,
that? So
here we
when
go.
we're doing this, when you're finding new clients, new vendors, as it were, what you're doing is
Here it is.
developing a relationship. Okay.
So it is. I remember now. It is because of you. It was one of the conversations we had. So these are the 6 reasons we reach out to our core clients and our past clients, right?
Mhm.
One of them is easy. You just said it, man. Like if I'm reaching out to a core past client by text, because that's how I typically do it, I'd say, hey, Tristan, I just used, in this case, instead of an electrician, you just used a window tinter, right? So it
Mhm.
would be like, hey, Tristan, I just used a window tinter. They did such a great job. Listen, if you need one, let me know. And the conversation always turns to this. I don't need a window tinter, but do you have a? And then they'll tell you what
Right.
they need.
And
And
to follow up on that point is what I think in the past, what if you have a team, small, large, or whatever, or in a brokerage, you have vendors, home services that come in and then they get 10 minutes to speak, and then they provide coffee and donuts, and they get up there and then you get to talk to them. So what I wanted to do was, instead of doing, they come once every year, I want them to come to every meeting. And I want them to develop relationships with our other core vendors and home services, because there's synergy between home tinting and
mm,
HVAC. So they're in the same kind of realm. Well, also you want in there, just thinking on windows, well, what else can you bring? Well, there's blinds, window treatments, window cleaning. So you start to build all these peripheral services where the actual owners of those companies start to talk to you. You're like the catalyst, because that's what I did. I said, hey, you need to talk to Gus, who's the owner of the HVAC company. You guys, there's got to be some synergy here. I don't know what it is. Maybe when somebody moves in, they get an opportunity to have a free HVAC assessment. And then maybe then part of that is to say, look, if you actually came in and applied some window tint here, because for example, my bedroom is going to be really hot. So if you apply that and in conjunction with reducing the heat, and then if you put the blinds in that automatically come down in the afternoon so there's ways that they can all interact and all support each other, and what that does is creates added value for everybody. So what we're looking at,
you put everyone that you work with right here, right? Just so people kind of can get a glimpse of who they are before they have
that's
all
some
the.
of them. Yeah, that's like so we got different levels of vendors, because there's different ways through the co-marketing. You got different levels of access, because also we're going to put you on the website. We're going to also do some subliminal marketing on our property details page, where there's
Got it.
rotations of those. So it's there's different levels of, and then to get into coming into the team meetings, that's obviously the primary ones. So because what
Team
I do
meetings,
is then it's
Gary,
kind of like
team meetings
speaking.
in person or through like Zoom? How do you bring them into the team meetings?
Oh, in person.
Cool.
So just think about it. If you don't have a team, but if you have a team, you probably get together. All right, let's everybody meet at 9 o'clock. Typically, realtors are kind of running a little bit late, but we always say get there about 8:30. There's coffee and donuts. There's somebody's going to provide breakfast. It's a great way to meet your other team members. So it's a social thing, right? But that's where I bring in
Got it.
the vendors, and then that's kind of like the speed dating, because I will say, hey, Tristan, come over here. I want you to meet so and so. That's one of the agents. If you're the home services vendor, and then the idea is somebody will have had a success, and somebody will, hey, Tristan, I want you to meet so and so. This is the company that Michelle was using. They did great. So it's back to building relationships,
Mm,
because when an agent goes out and they're showing, they want to be able to show their added value by having knowledge that not everybody has. Say, well, when somebody looks at something and goes, well, those gutters look a little, no, we have a guy. That's part of our homes intel. So you'd be a VIP client. So we could have somebody out there that will take care of that.
I love it. Well, that's
So-
what brings it all together, man. It's just going just like I
Mhm.
said, as we move closer to becoming like the Jetsons, it's the people that function like the Flintstones that are gonna win these relationships, right? You remember the
I mean,
Jetsons?
well, oh yeah, yeah. And that's the thing that I think, Barry was talking about, all the AI stuff, that I think people will realize there's value to all that, but that's just a conduit to get to personal relationships. And then you have to have the value adds that's going to separate you from everybody else.
That's so true. Gary,
So
I appreciate
co-marketing,
you.
that's where you've got to kind of start thinking ahead, because you got to start thinking outside of the box for developing different revenue streams
Yep.
as real estate changes and moves, and
Yes.
who knows what's happening in the next year. But when you're actually going out there and having to show the value, what you're providing to your clients, this just becomes another little arrow, part of your arsenal of reasons, because you've got the knowledge, you've got the connections, you've got all. It's not just when you move in, it's after you move in. We don't just
What happens?
see you, we're done. Talk to us in 10 years when you move again. You want to stay in front of that client, which helps with retention. And so that's the good thing about My Homes Intel. As a client closes on the house with one of the agents on the team, it's not me that's in front of it, it's the agent. So the agent is maintaining that relationship, and that's what's developing. And for us, that helps with our team to see the value of staying with the team, because we're providing value not only to the clients but to the agents, and to the agents to actually retain their clients, which benefits us all, basically. And we've got to the point where the clients, the home services vendors, are trying to figure out ways, how do they import their database into our database.
Whoa.
So they can be part of the drip. Yeah. So
that's big.
That tells you when things are going well.
Wait, now you tell me this? That's pretty
I
big.
mentioned it before, surely. But yeah,
Dude.
so our HVAC guy, just for example, has 6,000 clients in his database. Obviously,
Yeah.
we have worked with all of those, but he wants to bring them into the database so we can start dripping on those clients, because that's obviously he's going to be the preferred vendor there. But it keeps him in front of his clients.
That's
So
a
it's
big hack, bud. That's a massive hack.
yeah. And then
I would
as
that
you
on
as you your home services, as they see the value of more and more clients coming in, it just strengthens that relationship. And at that point, do they give a bigger discount to your clients, or they just there's ways that we can all add value. So one of the things we've been, this is a relatively new thing, so we're all brainstorming, because
yeah,
again,
I
when you
know.
meet clients, you want to be able to offer something. So even as closing gifts, you can buy, the agent can buy or give a gift of, just thinking out loud, you get your HVAC tune up, you get a quote for installing blinds with $75 off, you get a quote for putting window film, I don't know, and then you get throw into that lawn service once a month, and you get 1 month free, and you get this little package for the new homeowner. And then start tying that in with all the peripheral things that you can, your brain will start working overtime. Oh, I need to get Comcast. So we have Comcast here. So whatever your cable provider is there some way that you can leverage what you're doing here to be able to make sure that your clients get either preferential treatment, or they get some kind of discount, or some value add?
Okay, good. Here,
You're
Gary,
the
I'll tell
cause
you.
of, basically.
I want to, so we were trying this earlier, before we talked to you, I think it was early last year, maybe a year and a half ago. We were trying to do this, and maybe you can take it further, because last time you came into the group coaching session, we were kind of brainstorming live with everybody there. When we close a transaction, we had a home inspector go through after. So it's closed, Gary. Congratulations. Hey, listen, what time do you have? I know you're going to be packed with moving everything in about 2 weeks. for our home inspector, our concierge, to go through your home and kind of show you all the important things, just in case things break. You already know where the electrical box is, how to shut that off, water main, right? Just those 5 to 6 things, right? And I think I can fit this into what you're doing here, man. This is good.
Right. And so what you can also do, again, brainstorming here, is that you can get together with all the home services and then put together everybody on a monthly plan, or it's a monthly service. So, and part of that is they get a free checkup or a free something, or you get a house cleaning. Yeah.
A free HVAC check in March or April before the summertime. All right, Gary, you're giving me some ideas. Let me go to the audience. Guys,
when you come up with them and formalize them, make sure you send them back to me so I can.
Yeah, I know. We're brainstorming together. We're brainstorming together. What did you learn from Gary? What's the one thing that stood out? What did you love? Because we're going to pick another one, and we're going to give away the book, Real Estate Prospecting. I'll sign it, send it over to you. Gary, I didn't realize that dude, you already have one. I'll send you another one. Gary, I didn't realize that's you have a live puppy dog on your right. I didn't know that was alive. I didn't even know what that was. That's crazy.
Can you see that? It says the Ashton pups. Anyway, So the good thing is the doorbell hasn't rung, because as soon as that does, then it's up.
Listen, we're winning
so far,
Gary.
So, and I'll tell you, here's another example of me. I just moved into a new house. Before we had this session today, because I think I told you I moved in and only recently got all my studio set back up.
Yep.
Kept tripping. There was something tripping. So I had to call an electrician out to come and fix what the heck was tripping. So I had it in my preferred vendor list for him to come out and fix it.
Dude, I like
so
that.
I mean, it's always going to happen, right? Even with new construction, with anything. So
true.
I'm living proof that you actually do need to have all these.
I have so
and I live
much
there.
I know, man. I'm saying I have so much stuff to fix in my house. I don't even want to think about it. Gary, thank you so much. Yes, Gary's part of our group coaching, so we do bring him in there as well. We mastermind with you there. Jump in. Gary, thank you so much, man. Where do people find you? They just go to Google and type in the most amazing agent in Tennessee. Is that what they type?
Just so GaryAshton.com, or just Google Gary Ashton. NashvilleRealEstate.com, co-marketing.com. We're starting to do stuff there. That's probably and that will give you some insights into what we're doing with developing that program with I always say milestones. It's homeowner.ai, but
homeowner.ai. Yeah, I like it. Gary, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. And we're gonna have our next guest. I appreciate this, Gary.
Ciao.